Listen, the silence in these ancient woods is never truly empty. If you grew up on the safe version of Hansel and Gretel, you were lied to, not by your parents, not by the book, by something older, something that lives where the trees grow too close together and the light doesn't reach the ground. Tonight, I'm going to tell you the real story, and before you ask, yes, people still go missing in those woods. Picture this, a forest that doesn't feel like nature. It feels like a mouth. The air is cold even in summer. The birds don't sing. And every sound you make, every footstep, every breath, gets swallowed. The locals had a rule. Never follow music you can't see. Never eat food you didn't bring. And if you ever find sweets in the woods, run, because sweets don't grow on trees, but traps do. You know the story. 2 children, a starving family, a cruel decision. Hansel and Gretel are led into the forest and left there. They try to find their way back. They follow crumbs. The birds eat them. Then they see it. A house, made of sugar, windows of candy, a roof that looks like frosting, and inside, a witch. That's the version people tell children, because it's easier to blame a witch. Here's what the old records say, not the storybooks, not the polished bedtime version, the warnings. In the oldest telling, there was no witch. There were no bubbling cauldrons, no pointed hat. There was something else, small, quiet, clever, the forest pixies. And if that sounds harmless to you, good. That's exactly how they want it to sound. Pixies aren't cute, they aren't friendly, they don't grant wishes. They're not fairies. They're the forest's parasites. They mimic, they lure, they feed, not always on flesh, sometimes on fear, sometimes on confusion, sometimes on the slow, grinding panic of being lost. They don't need to kill you quickly. They prefer you to stay. Hansel and Gretel didn't find a candy house. They were shown one. Pixies can't build houses, not like humans, but they can make you see what you want to see. And what does a starving child want? Food, warmth, safety. So the Pixies did what they always do. They scattered sweets, not as a gift, as a trail. Bright colors on dark soil, sugar shining in moonlight, a path you can't ignore, and the deeper you follow it, the quieter the world becomes. The house wasn't a house. It was a hollow, a dead patch of forest where nothing grows, a place the locals avoided because people who stepped into that clearing came out different or didn't come out at all. Hansel and Gretel saw walls of cake. They smelled bread. They tasted sugar. But what they were really doing was eating whatever the pixies left behind. Rotten mushrooms, sap mixed with ash, things that make your head swim, things that make your thoughts slippery, things that make you easy to lead. So where did the witch come from? That part is real, just not the way you think. The witch was a person, a woman who lived near the forest, not evil, not magical, just alone. The kind of person people blame when they don't understand something, the kind of person a village points at when they need a monster. And the Pixies, they loved her, because she was perfect cover. Every missing child, every strange scream in the night, every footprint that ended at the tree line must be the witch, and the Pixies stayed hidden. In the tale, Hansel is locked in a cage. In the truth, it wasn't iron bars. It was the forest itself. Pixies don't need chains. They can loop the same path until you walk it for hours. They can turn a straight line into a circle. They can make the sun set too fast. They can make you think your sister is calling your name from the wrong direction. Gretel was the one who noticed. Not the candy, not the house, the silence, the way the trees leaned inward, the way the wind stopped at the edge of the clearing, and the giggling, soft, distant, like children whispering behind your back. She realized something. They weren't being hunted, they were being played with. So she did the only thing that works with pixies. She broke the game. Pixies hate iron, they hate salt, but they fear fire, because fire doesn't care about illusions. Fire is truth. Gretel didn't push a witch into an oven. She pushed a lantern into the dry nest of the clearing. A spark, a breath. And suddenly, the house peeled away. No frosting, no candy, just dead wood, bones, and little piles of stolen things, buttons, ribbons, tiny shoes, proof. As the flames rose, the forest woke up. The pixies screamed, not like humans, like insects, like a kettle boiling. Hansel and Gretel ran. And for the first time all night, they found a straight path, because the pixies were too busy fleeing the fire to bend the woods around them. They made it home, that part is true. But they didn't come back with gold. They came back with something else. A look in their eyes. The kind you see in people who've been lost too long. The kind that says, I know what's out there. And here's the worst part. In some villages, even today, parents still leave bowls of milk at the forest edge, not as an offering, as a payment, because it's cheaper than losing a child. So if you ever hear a story about a candy house in the woods, don't laugh, don't call it a fairy tale, and if you're walking at dusk and you see something bright on the ground, a sweet, a trinket, a perfect little trail, remember this: the forest doesn't give gifts, it sets traps, and the smallest things are often the hungriest. If you want more real urban legends and the stories people don't tell in daylight, subscribe and tell me in the comments, what's the creepiest thing you've ever found in the woods? Because once you've heard this story, you start noticing how many forests have rules, and rules are written in blood.